Hi there, and welcome to today's episode of How the Game Was Won. We are still in Tashkent for the FIDE Grand Prix being played there, and we're now in round 9 of the tournament. This game between Jobava with the white pieces and Andreikin with the black was played on the 31st of October 2014. Now, with his victory of the black pieces here, Andreikin literally puts his first hand on the victor's trophy, considering that after this game he moves into a clear lead in the tournament and only 2 rounds remaining. As far as the opening is concerned, I'm not even going to try and give it a name, and even the computer comes up with D4, D5 unusual, and as I play into the opening moves, you'll see clearly why. But bearing in mind that we are dealing with Jobava here. So yes, D4, D5, and white answers with Knight C3, which we can say is trust Jobava to make the game completely weird already on move 2. So how does black answer? Black answers with bishop f5, bishop f4, e6, e3, d6, bishop d6 should I say, g4, bishop g6, knight f3, knight d7, bishop d3, bishop takes, queen takes. Now what we can see here is that white is obviously now slightly ahead in development, but importantly what's happened is that he's already pushed the pawn up all the way up to g4, which signals that he's probably intending to be castling queenside and expand with a pawn storm on the king side. So the game continues. Bishop takes f4, e takes, h5, g takes h5. Now as opposed to g takes h5, there might have been the possibility of, say, for instance, playing f5 and you take hg, all he effectively needs to do, for instance, would be is if you can dislodge the knight, then the pawn on h2 will be dropping down, and you can get his strong pieces in to the 7th rank and cause absolute havoc. And the white king is still stuck on e1, and as you can see by the way the pieces are mounting, that the king itself is about to start coming under attack as well. White plays queen f3, drop back, black drops back to f6 with the queen to put pressure on the rook, which then in turn drops back to g3, and now we play e takes d4, queen takes d4, queen takes d4, knight takes, and there goes the h2 pawn. And yes, true that the whites now lost a pawn, but even worse is that the king is still weak and in the center. And now he can't even castle long, because if he had to now castle long, then the f2 pawn would simply drop as well. So now the game continued with knight f3, rook h1 check, rook g1, rook takes, knight takes, bangs the knight all the way back into its opening square. Black can now push d4, because now bearing in mind that as far as the pawn majority is concerned, black is now playing 4 versus 3 on the king side. So all you have to do is, when you're playing your 4 versus 3, is play that side carefully and convert your majority on that side of the board into a passed pawn. White answers b3, knight gf6, knight f3, c5, knight b2, king c7, a4, rook e8 check, king goes to f1, and with the king going to f1, effectively takes the king away from being able to apply or give any sort of defense on the king side pawn storm. Or should I say, no, correction, the queen side pawn storm that's happening at the moment. Knight e4, knight d3, b6, a5, king b7, b4, knight c3, a takes b, a takes b, b takes c5, b takes c5. And by initiating the pawn exchanges like that, black is trying to prevent white from initiating the exchanges in such a way that will create the passed pawn. But the writing is effectively on the wall, as you'll be able to see in the next couple of moves, where you play knight d2, rook e2, knight b3, king b6, rook a8, rook c2, drops the other pawn. And now what's happened is, with white taking the c2, with black taking white c2 pawn, that immediately turns these two pawns into connected passed pawns, which will be effectively what will be sealing white's fate. Because when you've got connected passed pawns like that, at the very least, white would need to drop a piece to be able to prevent the pawns from queening, and that will give black the clear winning advantage. White plays knight takes, knight takes, knight takes d4 to mop up the other pawn. Rook c1 check, king g2, knight d5, rook f8, knight e6. And here, with the immensely strong advantage, Jobava resigned, giving Andreikin the clear lead in the tournament. But just for the sake of completeness for all of you watching, let's play through the most obvious moves that black would be able to have at his advantage. Obviously, black can't play rook takes, because then black simply takes the hanging knight, and that will be game over. So instead, white plays knight e6. Black would obviously answer with f takes. Black plays f3. The strongest for white here would probably be rook c4. White can play king g3. Black's king comes up to c5. Rook a8. Knight to e7. And as you can see, with Black's playing with a full knight up, and it's going to be just a matter of time before that becomes completely decisive in a mating attack. Here, what's the best that White can possibly do? You can drop the rook back to a1, for instance. Black comes with hits on the f5, forces the king to h3. Then the knight comes down to d4. Rook a3. King d5. Rook e3. And Black can drop the rook, say for instance, onto c2. Obviously, White won't take that because the pawn is covered by both the king and the knight. So instead, White can push the f pawn. We come into rook e2. What can Black play? Can the rook, say for instance, across to g3. Now the king comes into e4. Black king into g4. Hit the pawn with the rook. King can go up to g5. Allowing Black to come in with knight f3. King goes to f6. King takes. Obviously, Black has to do something with the rook. So say, for instance, he takes the rook up to g7, g8. It's all the same. Say g8. White just pushes to e5. Rook to f8. e4. Play king to g7 check. Drop the king down to g5, maintaining the opposition. Rook e8. Rook e2. Rook e6. e3. Let's see, what can Black do here? Black can play rook g6 check, for instance. Not that it makes any difference whatsoever. All Black does is drop the king back. Say Black plays check. King goes back to g3. King goes back to f2, and the pawn will be queening. It's really that simple. What can Black play? Black can play rook b6. So White can play rook b6. Black can take the rook up to a2. Drop into e2. White drops the rook back there. We queen it. Obviously, black has to take. Knight takes, and now we've got knight and rook and king versus king. It's obviously going to be checkmate in fairly short order. So that is how the game was won. As I mentioned, Andreikin moves into the lead of the tournament, and with one hand firmly grasped on the winner's trophy. Please post your comments and questions down below. Click the thumbs up like button as well. Share this out amongst your chess friends, and please click the big red subscribe button as well. That way you can stay up to date on new videos as I post them on a week-to-week basis, bearing in mind that I will be posting a post-game analysis on all of the games in the shortly up-and-coming World Championship match between Magnus Carlsen and Rg1 Anand. Please stay tuned for that as well, and stay safe out there, stay carved up for the win. I'll be seeing you next time. Cheers.